Hello everyone, welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Walia Bhatnagar and I'm with you with the area of ABFM. Okay everyone, what's about today's class? Module C. You were dealing with the Module C. Now, let's begin with the session. Module C has good number of topics. But always remember, if you're really doing Module C, it is something which you cannot do without Module B. The main module is Module B only. If you know the Module B, then Module C is easy. Otherwise, this specific module is such a challenging one that you won't be able to understand. So the basics has to be absolutely clear. Okay, with this, we start with the session. First of all, please like the session, share it among your peers so that this session reaches out to maximum number of people and we have a class where we are having more or less maximum shares. Okay, chaliye. In the context of DCF, everyone, this is related to the discounted cash flow valuation. What is primary difference between DDM and FCFE models? Dividend discount models and FCFE. Dividend discount model uses actually the dividend area, and FCFE talks about the entire funds that you are receiving, right? So the first is DDM uses free cash flow, while FCFE uses dividends. DDM considers cash flows to all claim holders, while FCFE considers only equity investors. DDM focuses on future growth patterns, while FCFE focuses on current cash flows. DDM is applicable to private companies, while FCFE is applicable to publicly traded companies. What's going to be the answer? The answer is DDM is B. DDM talks about dividend discount model. Dividend discount model matlab the model which is, see, discount is the money that the shareholders get. Dividend is actually the money, the part of profit which is received by the shareholders. Okay. And then we talk about FCFE. FCFE is the part of the particular profit of the business which is with the shareholder. ठीक है ना? Done. So this is free cash flow left over after meeting claims of debt and preferred. This is very easy. Why to make it so difficult? Simple point. Dividend is the chunk of profit which is given to the shareholders, while FCFE is the total amount which is in the hands of the business, because first of all, outsiders are paid, taxes paid, that means interest is paid, then taxes paid, then we pay our preference shareholder, and then we pay our equity. The sequence is, first of all we pay to interest, then we pay off our debts. This is for the debt na, debt interest, then we pay the tax, then after tax whatever is left, then we pay to the preference shareholders as promised. They are paid before equity. And the last one is we pay after preference, we pay equity. This part is FCFE. After FCFE, the part of dividend which we share with the shareholders is dividend. See, this is the entire sequence. As you can see, the sequence is very different, है ना? Acha, very good news everyone. Our sale is going on. If you haven't taken up the courses yet now, then please go ahead and take up the share. Okay, enroll yourself in the particular classes as early as possible, because I think from 13th of February we are starting with another batch. We are starting with another batch of our course there. So please go ahead and check it out on our website or in our app for further details. It is right now having 80% discount. Okay? Which factor is more likely to contribute to sustained growth for an extended period? Which of the factors? General sources of growth, competitive advantage like the well-known brand, or management competence, or first mover advantage. Acha, first mover advantage is if I create something which nobody else is doing in this particular market, and that gives me a time where before anybody else enters, I rule the market. For example, fidget spinner. ठीक है ना? But they didn't get it patented, so ultimately it didn't really help the one who designed it, though. So let's take another example. General sources of growth, sustained growth for an extended period. Acha, everyone, do you know Nike is still going on? First point which I would definitely go for it is the specific case where we talk about Nike's brand. The brand is so good. They have established their name in the market to that extent where people are following the brand. है ना? That means they have the competitive advantage. Now, this is the reason. Next point. Competitive advantage like the well-known brand name. The price to book value multiple is derived from the stock metric, namely book value per share, which is obtained from the balance sheet. Then is reasoning. Book value per share is calculated as shareholder funds minus preference capital divided by the number of outstanding shares. True and R is correct the explanation. Matlab we have two things, assertion and reasoning. Okay, now is it better? Go ahead and answer, everyone. PB multiple. This multiple is actually better than sometimes PE multiple. Kyunki na, sometimes when the market is not good, then PE multiple is not a good base. When PE multiple is not a good base, we have no other option to move towards PB. This is you take price, the market price per share, and you take the book value below. This particular chapter is something that I strongly believe is very important. MPS upon BP, book value. This is the point. Okay. So when we talk about this stability, book value is normally never negative until or unless the organization turns into a sick unit, because in sick unit you'll find the net worth being negative. Otherwise, in almost every organization, this always be positive. So what's going to be the answer? This is derived from stock metric. Indeed it is, because first thing is market price per share and book value per share is calculated. That is shareholder funds minus preference share capital. Agreed again. From the funds you remove the preference shares even. Preference shares are also outsiders. Don't treat them as insiders, because these people are also there. Like if the company is having money, I am there. If they are not making money, then who are you? They are also set with this. Only true owner is equity shareholder. Nobody else can be equity. The answer is A. What is the value of an asset proportional to when all the factors are held constant? Uncertainty of the cash flows, the level of risk associated with the cash flows, the volume of cash flows, their growth rate, the level of risk associated, and expected growth rate of the cash flows. I think we have done the similar kind of questions. All the factors which are related to an asset. What is the cash flow that we are receiving? Because why would I buy an asset? If I have to buy a new laptop even, I'll buy a laptop because it should be helping me in earning more money. If it is not helping me, why would I buy a new laptop? Again, if I'm a business person, I should be thinking about my business first, right? The volume of the cash flows, their growth, and their level associated with risk. What components can be added together to arrive at an estimate of the company's value? Net present value and intrinsic value, continuing value and book value, value of free cash flow, continuing value and non-operating assets, or salvage value and residual value. What components can be added together? What components can be added together to arrive at an estimate of company's value? Net NPV or intrinsic is it's a part of the book value and today's current value of the business that we have to see in the future. Continuing or value or book value, and then is value of free cash flows, continuing value and non-operating assets, or salvage and residual. The answer should be C. We'll be finding the value of free cash flow, we'll be finding the continuing value as well as non-operating assets. ठीक है ना? We'll consider all these things together. Next point, what is that one approach to estimate the area of valuing of intangible assets such as brand name? There is not only one brand name, trademark, copyright, they're all covered in this. Market comparison, capital investment, revenue discount, or barter system. What's going to be the answer? Which of the following approach is to estimate the value of intangible? Market comparison, then capital investment, revenue discount, or barter system. Barter system is you give up one asset and buy the another one. So in this case, the correct answer is, when you're trying to find the intangible assets, now it is related to the area of capital investment method. Because in any specific business, you will be investing your money first. है ना? Done? Next question. What portion, this is actually different types of merger. What characterizes a generic merger, everyone? Everybody? What is that? In the area of generic merger, merging companies produce similar products. They produce operating in the same market sector. Merging companies have no fundamental connections, and the goal is to avoid the lengthy procedure of IPO. The goal of IPO is definitely there, but this is a part of reverse merger, right? So in this case, the correct answer is merging companies produce similar products. I produce a specific product, you also produce a specific product. So in this case, we have something in common. Done? Then comes the next point. What is a reverse merger? Oh, we have just discussed it. A large publicly listed company acquires a smaller one. Smaller one buys a larger one. The focus is on expanding debt, or merging companies have a buyer-seller relationship. They do, but actually merging is basically not buyer and seller. They're two equals coming together. I'm sorry. In terms of a reverse merger, the smaller fish will eat the larger fish because the larger fish has a reach which the smaller doesn't have. ठीक है? Done? So in this case, the correct answer would come out to be the smaller B. A smaller company which is unlisted would buy the larger one. What do you mean by slump sale, everyone? If you buy some other organization na, and you are accepting its good and the bad things, it involves specific valuations of each category, or the shareholding structure changes significantly, capital gains from slump sales are subjected to income tax, or it is completed for a single sum of money without specific valuations. The correct answer to this question is we actually buy the entire organization's assets and we value them together. It is completed for a single sum of money. That is called it a slump. ठीक है ना? Next point. In the purchase of a division or a plant, the uh, acquiring company takes over all the assets and liabilities. The acquiring company pays compensation, division of a plant, purchase of a division of a plant. Okay, you're just buying one division or one part of any organization. A fraction of assets and liabilities are taken over by the acquiring company. A selling company continues to operate independently. The correct answer is a fraction of assets and liabilities is taken over by acquiring company. Purchase means to acquire. Simple. ठीक है? Next point. In a make or buy decision, what is the key consideration when deciding whether to produce a component in-house or purchase it from an external supplier? Acha, let me give you an example. This is one of my favorites. I think I've given this to in your class earlier as well. Coke decided to make the bottles in its own plant because they found that the Coke production, bottle of the production in their in-house was easier than buying it from outside. This is what they actually did as well. In the make or buy decision, this is the key consideration when deciding whether to produce the component or in-house. You always have to compare the production price. Okay? You are like production price with your purchase price. Done? So in this case, the correct answer would come out to be the historical cost of producing the component, or the book value, or the expected contribution margin from selling the component, or the actual cost of production compared to the purchase price. The correct answer would be oh, the correct answer in this case would be the actual cost of production compared to the purchase price. Because in this case, the correct answer should be the actual cost of production. Okay? Because always remember, we are just a moment. I think there's some issue with the question. नहीं ठीक है. In this case, we are actually producing the thing in our organization na. So what is it? The cost that is coming out. If the production is cheaper in our organization, why don't we actually buy it? Why don't we actually just buy the raw material and continue our work accordingly? है ना? It is cheaper. Done, everyone? The correct answer would be the production cost should be less in our area. Only then it is worth it. Otherwise, it's not. Hello everyone, welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Valia Bhatnagar and I am with you with the area of ABFM. How are we doing everyone? What are we going to do today? We are going to discuss the specific topic of hybrid financing, right? So let's start with the topic of hybrid financing. Okay, so when we talk about hybrid finance, hybrid matlab higher level of finance. This kind of finance is basically there were two pure breeds. One breed was debt, one pure breed was equity. They said, nah, we wanted a few good things of first breed. I want a few good things of second breed. So they made it hybrid. Right? So let's talk about this further. When did the convertible debentures first emerge in India, and what was the initial requirement for them? Acha, everyone, what do you mean by the term debentures? Do you know debentures are known to be what? Debentures are debt instrument. Matlab, through this we take loans, है ना? Now that means if I take loans through debt, it's a debt instrument which talks about the money that we take from others, right? In 1990, they were required to have a predetermined conversion date. When we talk about the debt, now debt is basically the money that an organization arranges from people. They are not using their money; they are using other people's money. And obviously, once they make money, this money is also returned to the people from whom it has been taken. So earlier it was basically always compulsorily converted in 1990s, 80s, 17, and in 2000 they were initially required to be redeemable. Irredeemable, there was nothing called irredeemable. You can't just take a loan and say, nah, I'm not paying it off back. Till the time the organization is alive, there is no need. Such a particular thing just doesn't work out. Right? So this particular thing definitely doesn't work. In 1980s, basically, these debentures were compulsory to be converted into equity, because if you were lenders of the organization, you had the right to receive it. ठीक है? You have the right to convert your debt into equity, that too compulsorily. Then everyone, which of the following is the following statements are true about the PNCPS? That is, they have a maturity date. They may include redemption incentives. They can be repurchased without prior approval of RBI. They have no maturity date, step ups, and or any other incentives. Everyone, what do you mean by the term PNCPS? Any ideas? Acha, before I continue further, everyone please like this particular session and share it among your peers as well. When we talk about the term PCNPS. What do we mean by this term, everyone? These are called perpetual non-cumulative preference shares. Perpetual matlab men may come and men may go, but this particular organization till it stays, the perpetual shares are also there. They are not for lifetime. ठीक है? Done? So this is non-cumulative matlab if the company fails to pay at one point of time, then they don't have to pay it in the next year as well. They have a maturity date. Perpetual matlab it is there forever. This may include redemption incentives. They don't even want to give the redemption. They don't want to make the payment at all. So technically, nope. That's not the answer. The answer would be what? Then what's going to be the answer? Which of the following statements about the PCNPS is true? They may be purchased without prior approval of RBI. They have no maturity date. The answer is D. They just don't have any maturity date. Right? Done? Next question. In what circumstances can a bank exercise a call option on CPS? Everyone? If they need, this is basically acha call option matlab the company comes to people and says that I have got my money, can I pay you back right away? If they need funds in general options, if they replace the statement for something better or the instruments, or if they anticipate a decrease in the market interest rates, and the last one is if they want to reduce the number of outstanding PNCPS. This is basically done because they want to replace with something better. Perpetual matlab it's gonna stay forever. ठीक है ना? So in this case, the answer is B. Next question, everyone. How does the Section 55 of Companies Act ensure no reduction in shareholder funds during redemption? Actually, there is no reduction because once you give up on one particular type of shares, you take another type of shares for that. That means there is no reduction. Or you keep a specific amount of money already in the specific purpose of capital redemption reserve to prove that this is something that is final. Done? Everybody sorted? So what's going to be the answer? By reducing the nominal value? But this value is definitely going to be reduced now. Then by issuing fresh shares to the redeemed people, this can be the point. By increasing the dividends, dividend will not make a difference. Or the last one is by transferring profits, a separate account of redemption. In this case, I believe the answer would be B. है ना? You give up on one type of shares and you give it to someone else. Done? Because what will we do if I have to give up on one type of preference shares now? For example, I want to give up on 8% preference shares. So I will issue a new preference share now. A new preference shares so that the previous one can be given away. If the previous one was perpetual, it's not fun anymore. So it's better to reduce it and give some other form. है ना? Okay. So let's move on and talk about the next point. The answer is, acha, here comes the next question, everyone. The next question says, what is the characteristic of preference shares regarding dividend payments during loss or reduced profit situations? Dividends are paid out regardless of losses. Then dividends are not paid out during the losses. Dividends are taxable for investors, or dividends are paid out only if the company's equity is not performing well. Okay, we normally pay dividends when we have good amount of money. The payment is not paid when the company faces a losses. ठीक है ना? Done? Because only in case of insufficiency we would like not to pay. Otherwise we are supposed to pay. पता है? That's a rule. Okay, let's go ahead with the next question. The next question says that Acha, this answer is dividends are not paid out during loss or profits. Acha, the point is if we have insufficiency, it's of no use to do this. Because if we have to pay to someone when we are under losses, then it's no fun. This is actually a bad situation for the organization rather than a good situation, isn't it? If you are not able to pay off the dividends, that's a situation where the companies do not have enough money. And if you do not have enough money to pay the pocket money to the people who have given you money, then what will those people do? They will try to leave the organization altogether. They'll be like, this organization is not going good, so it's better that we move on to some other organization. So it's always better you keep on proving yourself. Even if the money is given by a specific person, what if after a certain period of time they might feel ki, "Arey, instead of putting money into this organization, I should have put the money in FD, in any other form," isn't it? What is the characteristic of valuation of optionally convertible debentures compared to compulsory convertible debentures? Optionally matlab this is something where the person has an option, either take money and either take money or you get shares. Share versus shares, and in this case it is money versus money. है ना? You have given shares, you will मतलब you have taken debentures, it will be converted into shares that are convertible, and that too, this can be an option and this can be compulsory. That means if it is an optional one, you will be given an option. How do you want the money? You want to have cash or you want this? है ना? Okay. So what's going to be the answer? It is always higher, it is always lower. You just can't have it. It depends upon the issuing company's prospects, or it is unaffected. Variations and characteristics. When we talk about the valuation, see, convertible means you are choosing an option. कि देखिए, what do you want? You want money or you want shares? So that is something that they will choose. Otherwise, they will say कि नहीं, I cannot. This will depend upon the company's future. If the company feels that we would be having a great future and we need more shareholders, then you will do the shareholding thing. Otherwise, you will say, कि नहीं नहीं, just take the money and get away from our organization because we have enough shareholders in the organization, we have enough backup, right? What is the conversion ratio if the in convertible debentures? Conversion ratio matlab the price per share when the conversion takes place. For every debenture, how many shares you are getting? The price of equity share obtainable upon conversion, or the premium paid for up to the option of decline or interest rate on the debentures. The correct answer is actually B, right? Anji. Done. Now comes the next question. Why might it make sense to purchase convertible debentures with warrants and debenture with warrants and evaluating new business with unproven products? Everyone, your business is a very good one. But the point is, it is too unpredictable. The project has certain things which have good potential, but I don't know how the market will go. If it will go good, then though this is something, if I put equity into it, I'm going cool. Otherwise, it's bad. है ना? Now, the point is, if I put an offer of equity, I might putting myself under a lot of risk. What will I do? What I can do is, I can convert debentures into equity later on. That too on my choice. I want to do it or not. Or warrants. That means I don't want shares right now, but I want to have the right to receive the shares later on. Not today, of course, but later on, I would like to. So in this case, because they offer immediate returns or they provide low risk investment opportunities or they facilitate financial synergy. Synergies 1 plus 1 is equal to 11. Something that happens in terms of mergers. Audible clearly, everyone? Okay. I think there was no sound in a particular area. Why might it make sense to purchase convertible debentures and debentures with warrants? The question clearly meant that if when you are playing with an adventurous company, you don't want to participate in equity. Equity means if there is a loss, there is a loss. You won't get a penny. But if you give it a loan, whatever happens to the company, at least you will get your interest and principal back. And later on, you can say to that particular organization, ki dekhiye, now that I can see a good prosperity in you, I can see you fulfilling the potential. I would like to get into equity shareholding. That's the clarity that you can bring up later on. Now, this is where you have the potential to participate in a potential upside while limiting downside risk. If the company goes up, you are in a good situation. If the company goes down, you're in a bad situation. But at least in this case, if the company goes down, you still have the right to receive your loan and you will be among the primary lenders for sure. What are the conventional explanations for issuance of warrants and convertible debentures? They allow businesses to issue equity share at a lower risk and facilitate better matching of cash flows. They make it possible for businesses to issue debt inexpensively and offer equity shares in the future with additional charges. They provide financial synergy. Financial synergy was mergers. 1 plus 1 is equal to 11. But sometimes this doesn't happen that way. In both the companies, when you try to add the synergy, the positivity sometimes doesn't come out. Rather, they become too unstable as well. They offer tax benefits and improve the company's credit rating. The answer is B. They make it possible for the businesses to issue debt inexpensively and offer equity shares in the future with additional charges. Matlab, you can issue the debt without any problem and later on you can definitely get equity shares without a hustle or bustle. Matlab, you will be in a relaxed situation even though there's a risk because ultimately you are giving loan to someone. But if you give loan, the company can be sold and you can still be recovering your money. In equity, you just can't cry about it. है ना? Who are the typical investors in foreign currency convertible bonds, everyone? Last question for the day. Domestic retail investors, central banks, hedge funds, and foreign investors, sovereign wealth bonds funds. The correct answer is hedge funds and foreign investors. 24/7. My name is Neharika Valia Bhatnagar, and I am with you with the area of ABFM. Good morning, everyone. Till now, we have done with a good part of um, the ABFM subject altogether, right? We are done with module A, B, as well as C, and we have just started with the module D. In terms of module D, we are done with the first chapter, that is I'm sorry. The first chapter that we did was hybrid finance. Hybrid matlab you have debt, you have equity, you have two specific breeds there, and then you say, nah, let's make a customized situation where it is a mixture of both, है ना? Hybrid. Then we talk about startup finance. What do you mean by startups? The business which has just started, है ना? But what kind of business has just started, everyone? The business can be related to anything. They haven't specified what kind of businesses. And just started matlab, I just started my business 1 year back, 2 years back. Or when we specify this is actually the money that is related to not 1 year or 2 year. Rather, it is related to the business where we started the business, and I'm sorry, it is around 1 year, sorry, 10 years, maximum 10 years should have been passed when you start up your business. That is what you define in terms of startup. Okay? That's how you define the term startup finance. Done, everyone? When we talk about startup finance, these are the businesses which have been recently started, especially Make in India campaign and other campaigns have also been involved in this area where they are helping the businesses to grow further. Done? So, where do you arrange those funds? Is government helping you? Maybe. Is the guidance of government helping us? It can also be done. There can be angel investors. Indeed, there can be anybody who might be helping you. है ना? Done. So let's talk about the startup finance based questions. The angel investors can help you, and not only angel investors but even venture capitalists. We'll be talking about all these people in detail, who can help us, who are the organizations who will be helpful to us for this particular work. Because when you start up your business now, your business really helps a lot to grow. Okay, then let's study this detail further. Let's talk about this. What distinguishes startups from other businesses? Startup is every business is at one point of time a startup. Nobody gets a business which is never started, isn't it? They have low startup expenses and incomes. You bet this doesn't happen. The income is never less or more. Okay? Next point is they have created by and they have been created by entrepreneurs seeking validate a scalable business model. They intend to remain small and not grow beyond the solo founder. This sounds so pessimistic. And the last one is they do not seek funding from venture capitalists. You bet everybody looks forward towards growth. So if someone is putting up a little clauses and ready for helping you, then why not? है ना? So the correct answer is they have created by entrepreneurs seeking for to validate. Acha, everybody, people go to Shark Tank India. You've heard about Shark Tank? The startups which are absolutely new or had been there in the market in the last a few years, they had been working towards their growth and they wanted the growth. So what do? They reach out for the people to help them, right? Done, everyone? So in this case, can we say this is absolutely normal for the business to reach out to other people and scalable? Scalable matlab you are trying to grow your business. They have a scalable business and they're trying to grow that part. Acha, what services does the Startup India Hub provide? Startup India Hub, this particular hub is responsible for what? This specific hub is responsible for the area of providing a shelter to the new organizations. It really provides them the area where they can grow further. Acha everyone, if you find these specific classes and specific MCQ classes and the content helpful na, please go ahead and like the session and at the same time also share this particular session among your peers. Okay. And secondly, the sale is going on everyone. You can get up to 80% of discount. So hurry up and check it out right away so that you get the maximum benefit out of it. What say? Chaliye, now let's move on and talk about the next point. Startup India Hub provide financial assistance and incentives. Yeah, it really provides you the shelter. It's a kind of incubator. Industry, academia collaboration, simplification and coercion. Okay. Then last is various services and connections to the ecosystem, to ecosystem builders. It is actually D. You build up a particular area where you can actually help them. You're just not providing them financial connections. You're providing way more than that. Done. Easy, छोटा सा प्यारा सा question. चलिए. Then how does the DPIIT recognition process benefit entrepreneurs? DPIIT helps a lot of these organizations to help the entrepreneurs by requiring a letter of recommendation from incubator. Incubator is basically the one which protects you. है ना? Then comes the next part is by making the process offline or bureaucratic. This is very cumbersome. I don't think DPIT would be looking forward to this. By gathering and reviewing and granting certificates of recognition online within a short time and by limiting the access to support programs. Matlab, if we talk about DPIIT and their working na, this is for the benefit of the entrepreneur. So technically, this is what they will try to do. Na? First can also be the point, but the C point stands more affirmative. Right? Done, everyone? We all sorted? So in this case, we will gather the information, we'll grant the recognition only online. Basically, now this is what has happened in the entire industry. You would even find in terms of startups, now there is a specific area of benefits which is lined for innovation, especially in the area of technology. That is something the government has been really helpful towards. Acha, what category of startup action plan recommendations fall into? They are financial assistance and incentives. Are they providing industry, academia, collaboration and simplification and coercion? Taxation, employment, infrastructure, import, export regulations, labor laws and environmental policies, marketing strategies, product development and customer service. What's going to be the answer, everyone? What's going to be the answer, everyone? The correct answer is financial assistance. The first thing the organizations needs is financial assistance. Second is you look forward towards industry, academia, collaboration. You're providing academic as well as the collaboration which helps you to grow further. है ना? And the next part is simplification and cohesion. You're gonna make things simpler and you're gonna push things further as well. Because this particular area doesn't work that simpler, है ना? Done? So let's move on and talk about the next question. Now comes the next pointer. The point says that which is one of the main challenges faced by the startups according okay, the main problem which startups faces sometimes when you start working na, the weirdest problem is how do you work. Matlab, if they need money, from where will they get money? If they need recognition, from where will they get the particular information as well? It is not as easy as if, as we talk about it, that we are looking forward towards it. Na? Whenever the organization start working, it is very difficult to even execute the basics because there are market giants which are sitting and they are way older than you. If they're way older than you, how will you grow? It's not that easy, isn't it? Excessive planning leading to inefficiency, lack of competition and demand in the market, cybersecurity risk outweighing other challenges or unrealistic expectations. There is no unrealistic expectations. So they are not even realistic because the point is they don't know anything. And this market is so unknown. There had been things which went out in the market so well that nobody knows about it. Done. Excessive planning and leading to inefficiency, lack of competition. No, this is not the point. One of the problems is unrealistic. अच्छा ठीक है. They are talking about the main thing cyber security. वैसे तो cyber security is also one of them. Which of the one is main challenge? ठीक है. We are talking about main challenges ना. Unrealistic expectations is one of the basic areas because ना they don't know how they'll go to the market, and sometimes there are organizations which have made a very huge amount in terms of their expectations, but it doesn't work that way. And that is one of the basic normal things that happen in an organization. ठीक है? So the correct answer is unrealistic expectation. Things will not work out for sure. Why is it important to offer a state to have startup policy? Because sometimes people cannot reach out to the market and they do the things to discourage the growth startups. Nahi, this is to encourage, to provide funding and support. This sounds better. To limit the number of startups operating within the state. Nahi, they want to encourage it. And the next part is to restrict the membership or mentorship. Nahi, the answer is B only. All other points are pessimistic, while there's only one point which is optimistic. Done. So let's move on to the next point. The next point says, what is the purpose of pitch presentation? But once you go to the business, matlab you go to someone and reach out ki nahi, I want to start my business, and then you are trying to tell them ki dekhiye, my business is like this. So when we talk about pitch presentation, it's like you are putting, okay, I had a startup. I decided ki I will make organic food. Most of the organizations are doing that. I said I'll provide affordable food, and they say how will you provide it? I said I have better ways to work upon, and that is what they were looking forward to, and it's cool if we are looking at that way, you know. So if we were deciding to do it that way, how are we going to make things work? I'll have to show you my plan, that what is that I want to sell. Okay, let's try this out now. In the nay, let's organic things are very common right now. When we talk about, I have got some products which are found in the native India, in the rural regions. And those rural regions, you find all these good things, and then the point is you want to make it reach to the market. So I got that particular thing through the market, and I made sure that this particular thing reaches the international level as well. So what I did was I made things work in a proper manner. Okay, so what I did was I had a particular idea. My idea was कि I will show you my printed bed sheets. My bed sheets are made from a specific art which is found in the rural areas of a specific part of the country. Now the point is, you are sitting in USA. How will I show you that my product is extremely interesting and unique? I'll put up a presentation and a video for you and show the pictures to you as well. What kind of things are we providing? What is the quote that I am looking forward to? Till the time I don't put up things in front of you in the form of this pitch presentations, how will you work? है ना? To discourage potential investors from investing the business? No, to showcase the business. That this can be the point. You are trying to showcase your business. You are trying to tell other people that pata hai, this is my idea. To present a detailed business plan for the potential customers, to provide an overview of startup ecosystems in the state. The answer is to showcase yourself. You're trying to show that exactly where do you stand. है ना? Done, everyone? Now, let's move on to the next pointer. What is the objective of Startup India Yatra program? But not everybody can reach out in terms of their problems. They will have an extremely interesting point there where they wanted to grow. But the point is, what is government helping them out? There are people who are working in the rural areas and they have a very unique idea. And we have to tell them that their unique idea might work out. है ना? Now, the point is, what is the objective of Startup India Yatra? To promote startups in metropolitan India, there is no problem. To provide financial support to tier 1 country cities. Again, these are metropolitan or bigger organizations. And then is to identify and assist entrepreneurial talent in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Tier 2 and tier 3 can be a better point because you want to reach out to rural areas. है ना? You don't want to stay in the other area, you want to reach out to the rural area. Done? In this case, to support the startups with zero, nahi. Startup India Yatra was actually reach out to the areas of tier 2 and tier 3. You are getting into the typical rural areas where people are extremely having the potential and the products which are better than other areas, and they just want ki theek hai na, let's just work upon these areas altogether. है ना? Now comes the next point. What activities are included in Startup India Yatra? Hosting business incubation and mentoring sessions in the metropolitan areas, conducting idea validation awareness workshops and pitching sessions during boot camps, offering financial support. Almost everything sounds better. But the last point is tier 1 cities. They don't work in the tier 1 cities that way. In the tier 1 cities, if they wanted to work, the tier 1 cities has a lot of exposure for the people already, and that's true even. In the lower areas, they don't have it. So metropolitan is out of it. So I would say A is also out. Technically, this is also out. Conducting idea validation or startup finance. It is going to be B. They conduct boot camps. Boot camps is what? You are arranging the camps where you come up with people and try to talk to them. कि अच्छा ठीक है, what is exactly you are doing and how you are working upon all those things. That's covered here in this area. Done? Okay, this is what is the exemption rule of GFR 2017 in the procurement bids? When you are putting up the procurement bids, how do you grow further? Everyone? Because obviously everybody wants to grow further. Exemption by submitting the business plan, exemption by submitting the earnest money, exemption from taxation for startups, or exemption by submitting past turnover. No, the point is only one. That is exemption by submitting the earnest money for bid securities. You're putting it up, then you won't have a problem there.
With the area of ABFM. What are we dealing with today? We are dealing with Module D, Startup Finance. We started dealing with the startup finance in the last class, right? So I'm going to continue further with startup finance. What do you mean by the term startup? Startup is an organization which has just started, and just matlab in the last 10 years it has just started. It was earlier a different definition, but now it is 10 years. Their working is absolutely new in the market and they are trying to improve themselves further. है ना? मतलब they are trying to put themselves as a specific organization with an identity in the market. And obviously, when they are trying to establish themselves in the market, they need some kind of motivation. How do they have that motivation, everyone? Where is the place where they are trying to grow? When they are trying to grow themselves, there are certain things that they will do. First of all, they will need money. They will need money. Income tax department has given exemptions to them in the first 10 years. The government has provided them finances for this as well. While when we talk about the area of recognition, there are different rewards given to them so that now they can actually keep on working. Recognition is the key. Na? If you recognize someone's work, whatever they are doing, they would love to continue that particular work for a longer period. This is a basic ideology of human being. If you recognize their hard work, then they will definitely do it for a longer period. Right? So here comes the first question. What is the main goal of MNRE? Startup Grand Challenge. It is to lower the carbon emissions or to promote the fossil fuels consumption or to increase energy dependence or none of the above, everyone. ठीक है? What's the answer? This is done to lower the carbon emissions. When you are trying to reduce the carbon emission, this is increasing the ultimate work of these organizations and this they are being recognized. है ना? Thank you so much. So move on. What is the focus of startup India single-use plastic international challenge? Achha, this is one of the things. The bigger or the more thicker the layer of the plastic is, it takes वैसे ही already it takes a lot of time to decompose plastic. It takes way more time for this kind of plastic. This plastic causes a lot of harm to the soil, even if it is dumped in the soil. So, and it is very hard to use this kind of plastic even. So they started saying that use a plastic which is single use. The plastic which is for the single use plastic now, in this case what they do is they are promoting single-use plastic. They are developing uh, small solutions to reduce single-use plastic or encourage plastic dumping. Actually, now the plastic is not supposed to be used only once. If it is recyclable, then that's the best thing to happen. Recyclable matlab you don't have to make more plastic. whatever plastic is already circulated in the market, that same plastic is can be used for other purposes. For example, when we talk about milk pouches, if it is uncut, then the same pouches can be recycled. They can be cleaned up, they can be recycled and used again. Now, this kind of thing is the focus of Startup Challenge. It doesn't want to promote single-use plastic. Single-use plastic matlab you can make more plastic. You will have to make more plastic for other uses. Encouraging plastic waste dumping? No. You are developing design solutions to reduce single use. है ना? What documents are required for registration under the single point registration scheme? PAN card, Aadhaar card, UAM, Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum, or EM Part 2, that is optional. And then we have passport and driving license. And then we have the birth certificate and educational certificates. When you're trying to register under single point registration scheme, then the answer is B. Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum or EM Part 2. Which organization is responsible for registering micro and small businesses under the single point registration scheme? Ministry of Finance, National Small Industries Corporation, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, or RBI? The one single point place where these are recorded. These are recorded at one specific place. That means they don't face any problem further in terms of the registration. They don't have to go to multi registrations for having different schemes. They will just get it once. The answer is NSIC, National Small Industries Corporation. They get themselves registered under NSIC. Their registration is complete, so their existence is registered at multiple areas altogether. You don't have to get yourself registered every now and then, है ना? And that is the basic reason that they prepare this. Okay, next point. What is the main objective of single point registration scheme, everyone? SPRS, to increase government purchase from large scale business, to facilitate registration of micro and small enterprises for the government procurement, and then to encourage foreign investment in Indian industries, or none of the above. What is the main objective of the single point registration program? This is the government is not trying to have large scale purchases, of course. In this case, they are just trying to facilitate the registration of MSMEs, which is definitely very difficult. If you are registering under multiple schemes, then it will take a lot of time, and the recognition and everything else will take a lot of time again too, because registrations are definitely not easy, है ना? So the answer in this case would be B. What is the primary focus of Startup India with regard to women entrepreneurs? Implementing new tax laws, launching new programs, and forming networks, providing subsidies for female owned businesses, or encouraging male dominated business. See, the last one is definitely out. When it comes to women entrepreneurs, they have actually started providing a lot of finances and subsidies to the women entrepreneurs so that they can actually develop themselves. Okay? They want that women entrepreneurs should also be getting a good work. The women entrepreneurs should also be getting guidance. They need subsidies for everybody needs subsidies for the business. There is no point where nobody needs a particular guidance for their businesses. Everybody needs it, because if you want your business to grow, then how can you make it grow without any aids? है ना? In this case, you need finances, and the finances can be given by reducing prices for you, by giving you subsidies. This is basically providing subsidies for female owned businesses. Actually, they are also helping in terms of finances as well, and they're also helping the women entrepreneurs to grow by uplifting their skills as well. All these things are being done so that women can be independent, launching new programs and forming networks. What amendment was made to Section 80 IAC of the Income Tax Act? This is basically 80 IAC is related to the area of Income Tax Department, where we talk about reduction in the eligible startup turnover criteria, increase in the eligible startup turnover criteria, removal of deductions from eligible startups, and introduction of new taxes for eligible startups. What's gonna be the answer? 80 IAC of income tax is basically helping the eligible startups to eligible startup increase turnover criteria. They have increased the turnover criteria so that these organizations, more of the startups can grow further. Because leaving the startups in such a situation where the startups are not able to grow at all, that's wrong now. You need them a space to grow, right? If these startups are getting aids, if they are being recognized for their work, then this will not only help them to get the required assistance and funds from the market, but this will also help them to grow further as well. Under Section 54GB, what conditions must be met to be exempt from paying of income tax on capital gains, everyone? Acha, 54GB, investing a net concentration in the government bonds. Government bonds is not this. Government bonds is 54F, I believe. No, 54EC. Rural electrification bonds, and there are certain bonds where you invest, and this is up to 50 lakhs in the financial year in which we have purchased it. Utilizing the amount of subscription and equity shares of an eligible startup, utilizing the amount of personal expenses, and no conditions need to be met. What's going to be the answer? The answer is utilizing the amount of subscription for utilizing the amount for subscription of in equity shares for eligible setup. Acha, I remember it. There's a particular way of learning it. It depends upon you how do you want to learn it, but this is how I learned it. If you understand Hindi even a bit, what I did was 54GB is घर बेचकर बिजनेस शुरू करना. घर मतलब the house there. So this is घर sold and business started. ठीक है ना? घर means your house. So you sell your house or any other specific property when you want to start your business. You might be selling your jewelry, you might be selling your property, you might be selling any of these things so that you can actually start making more money from your business. What condition allows the carrying forward to business losses in the case of qualifying startups, everyone? Majority stakeholders must remain unchanged. Then majority stakeholders must sell their shares. And no conditions applying for carrying forward losses or minority stakeholders. What's going to be the answer, everyone? No conditions applying for carrying forward the losses. And then we have minority stakeholders must take over. The answer is majority stakeholders must remain unchanged. If the majority stakeholders are gone, then if the majority stakeholders are gone, then we can do nothing. No? The organization doesn't remain the same, right? Because if the majority shareholders are gone, then things definitely changed a lot. Next is what modification was made to the company's acceptance of deposits rules 2014 by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Increased maximum deposit limits for the private companies. Then we have exclusion of convertible notes from the definition of deposits for the startup companies. And then we have mandatory deposits requirement for all the private companies or none of the above. The correct answer in this area is exclusion of convertible notes from the deposits in the startup companies, right? Then everyone, exclusion of convertible notes from definition of deposits for the startup companies. What is the objective of Startup Seed India Fund? Seed Fund Scheme. To provide funding for well-developed businesses to assist new businesses in establishing proof of concept and developing prototypes, to provide loans to startups for commercial banks, and to encourage startups to seek funding from investors. Startup Seed India Fund is basically when you treat the organizations like a seed. Seed matlab, it starts from this particular point. This is where they are starting, they need some finances, they want to grow further. So these are Seed India funds. है ना? Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. When we talk about this specific scheme altogether, this specific fund is related to the area of to assist a new business in establishing, thank you, proof of concept and developing prototypes. They are basically doing prototypes. Prototypes matlab, prototypes basically means you create the mini versions of the main thing so that people can actually invest in it. Now, what does it mean that people see? People should be able to see if I want to invest in your organization. I would like to see what is your exact product. That is what we cover in this area. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, it's afternoon going on. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Bhatia, and I am with you with the area of ABFM. I hope I'm audible as well as visible, everyone. Okay, everyone, what are we doing today? When we talk about the topics that we're going to pick today, it is startup finance. Wait, start with the module D. Technically, we have almost ended the entire series with all the topics all together. Chapter wise, we are done with it. So, what are we going to deal with today? These are the few questions regarding startup finance. Startups are those organizations which are having the benefit of their work. They have their own set of struggle, but the government has been really helpful towards them as well. So technically, we can say that these are those people who get the help from the market itself. Good afternoon, sir. Okay, everyone. Acha, first of all, if you're there in the class, please go ahead and like the session. Secondly, if you're there in the class, please go to the entire playlist as well. This is almost the end of the particular modules. We are done with three modules already, and in the last module, we are currently at the second chapter. Okay, so all I can say is this particular series will be helpful at the time of your final preparation, right? Okay, what are some of the important industries contributing to India's economic growth? Agriculture and textile, automobile, manufacturing and construction, information technology and services, software development, telecommunications, etc. And then is mining and natural resources extraction. Indian economic growth is see, agri is where we had been for so long. So, agri and textile is the one which is right now under stagnation. No doubt we have made a lot of development in the agriculture and textile, but still, this particular area is not something which we can expect more growth. It has reached its saturation. Automobile manufacturing and construction, India is still way behind, and as compared to many other developed and developing countries. When we talk about China being one of our neighbors, they are very good in this. German, they are very good in automobile industry. So there are already certain organizations which are better than India in this field only, right? Tata has recently done a lot, but I would say still the economic growth industries are not these. Then mining and natural resource extraction, we have enough to only feed our country. The resources and all, they're more or less required for our country more. So mining and natural resources are normally used in our country itself. So information technology and services, this is where we are reaching out to the international areas, along with software development and telecommunication. So the correct answer is C, everyone. Got the answer? Okay. So now moving on to the next question. What are some common practices foreign investors bring to India? What do they bring to India, everyone? Relaxed due diligence and contracting procedures, limited involvement in post financing activities, focus on long term investment without concern for timely exits, rigorous due diligence, stringent contracting, active post financing involvement, and timely exits. What are the common practices foreign investors bring in India? Foreign investors play a very important role in India, Vata. They made what we are today. They play a very important role. Why? Because when the foreign investors come into India, they are looking forward towards making money through India. And even Indians are thinking about the forex coming into India would bring more money for us. You know, that's one of the basic things every organization or any country which opens itself for the world, they would be looking forward to. So in this case, it's not relaxed due diligence. You are going to make sure that if you are spending more money, it is worth it. Limited involvement in post financing activities, no. After the financing, I think we have to be more diligent because you have to make sure that your finances which are being given are utilized properly. So that's won't be the point again. Focus on long-term investment without concern for timely exits. We have to provide them a place to live. For example, Chevrolet. left India. Not only Chevrolet, I think Ford has also almost left India. There are other organizations which are planning to leave India. Automobile industry has got itself a hit even there. So all these things are happening. We cannot ask any organization to stay for a longer period if they are facing a lot of losses. So we have to do the rigorous due diligence because outsiders are coming. We have to keep our eyes and ears open. Stringent contracting, the contracts should definitely be stringent because that will make sure that there are no faults from the foreigners. And active post financing involvement. After financing, the involvement should be limited. And then we have the timely exits. Timely exits matlab the person is leaving before time. Or if they want to leave at any point of time, there are no restrictions adding on to their workforce. So the answer is D. Next question, why do venture capitalists? Good afternoon, Suresh sir. Why do venture capitalists fill the gap left by the traditional banks in financing new businesses? Actually, no, the problem is in the traditional businesses. Traditional banks normally have one problem. They will always ask for collateral. Okay? And I'm sorry, they're providing loans. Are they providing the guidance? No. They're helping them in terms of finances, but they cannot provide them guidance. That's one of the true facts about them as well. So bank require tangible assets as collateral for loans uh, which many new businesses lack. Yeah, because they now look forward towards equity. Venture capitalists charge lower interest rate compared to banks. That's not the point. They actually take a part of the equity itself. Then banks prioritize financing for businesses with significant prior expertise. And then is venture capitalists only invest in the businesses with established assets. वैसे when we talk about venture capitalists, the difference between the two is the first one only. Banks require tangible assets as collateral. मतलब they're always asking for a security. But the venture capitalists are very cool. They will say if your business grows, one part of it is mine. And later on, what happens is if the business grows extraordinarily, then the venture capitalist will take over the organization. The co-founders are gone, and that's how the venture capitalist becomes the owner. So technically, yeah, this is what they will do. That is why they're not asking कि ठीक है ना provide us some collateral or something. They're like नहीं नहीं नहीं, I want to be a part of your organization. I will guide you how to work. So that's one thing. They normally exit even ऐसा नहीं है कि they stay for a longer period or they decide to take over every organization. But yes, if there's any extraordinary successful organization, it has to keep itself safe from these VCs. What distinguishes the venture capitalist from the traditional banking in terms of the support provided to the business? First was related to the area of the loans and the finances. Now we're talking about the traditional banking in this case. How these two things are going different. Venture capital offers strategic guidance in addition to financial banking. Financial backing, नहीं banking ही आएगा. Then is traditional banks offer high rate risk in investment opportunities. No, venture capitalists focus solely on providing financial sources. Or traditional banks prioritize long-term partnerships with the business. How are these two very different? These two are different on the basis of A. Venture capital offers strategic guidance in addition to financial backing. मतलब हाँ, this is financial backing only. They are helping in terms of they are providing them money, but they are also raising them. How that is how they are totally different from the banks. Banks will provide them a loan and then bank will move away. That's the work of the bank. But the venture capitalist will still be there and will be guiding you. That's why once he has been involved too much into an organization, then he would like to stay in that organization. ठीक है? What are some key characteristics of venture in capital investment? Minimal financial burden on the aided company and long-term partnerships with venture capitalists, then high risk of a high level of risk tolerance, active interest in leading the company and exit strategy within 3 to 7 years, strict terms and conditions, substantial financial burdens on the aided company and no exit strategy, limited involvement in the aided company operations, and passive investment approach. You really don't do that. You have to be active. You cannot say this. But yeah, you will have an active interest, but you will decide that after this particular period of time, I'm not going to stay in this organization. You are not supposed to stay. These are just helping hands. They will make their money, and once they make their money, they will sell away their equity part as well, or they will not be actively involved in the organization. So the answer is B. They have a high level of risk tolerance. They have active interest in leading the company, and they exit strategies within 3 to 7 years. Then they will be building up another organization in a better way. Then everyone, moving on to the next pointer. What are shared characteristics between private equity and venture capital? Pata, what do you mean by private equity? Private equity is basically related to the area of one particular person to whom we choose ki we are I want to give you the shares of my company. I know you personally, so I want you to be a part of it. While when we talk about venture capitalist is basically a random person who has, he's not actually termly random even. This person has done a good homework of our organization. We have done a good homework of their organization, and we are seeking funds from them. So when we are looking forward towards seeking funds from them, that will be included in this area. ठीक है? So in this case, limited autonomy and reliance on the public funding and passive management, active oversight of invested enterprises, significant financial incentives for managers, and establishment as autonomous pools of capital. Okay, both of these areas, be it private equity or venture capital, that's one of the organization's ways to raise money. Restrictions on activities, the lack of investment agreements, or and reliance on the general public, or passive involvement in invested enterprises, and absence of financial incentive for managers. The difference between what are the shares that is shared between the two. When we talk about these two, they have a few things in common. Both are ways of generating money for the organization. But what they do is they have an active oversight of investment enterprises. Both of these are not going to overturn their investments in a day or two. It will take time. So that's why they always have an oversight of investment activities. Then significant financial incentives for the managers would be there, and establishment as autonomous pools of capital. Then everyone, what's the answer to this? The answer is actually B. Now, how are these two different? That was their common point. How are these two different? Private equity investments primarily focus on equal early stage business, and then primary equity only prioritizes the long term partnerships with the business, or private equity investment may involve restructuring financial operations or planning around planning. Private equity investors typically provide the minimal financial support to the aided companies. They don't really do this. Once you deal with the money, then you have to find a way. You know? The answer in this case would be private equity investment may involve more restructuring. The restructuring part of the private equity is way too much as compared to others. That's one particular part which is definitely there. What is the purpose of screening process or in venture financing? You decide to give money to an organization. You won't go through the particular details of the organization. You will know. One of the screening processes you will find at Shark Tank India. Before they come in front of the sharks, their businesses are basically studied by the people who are working with the production. Then their screening is done. Then the particular persons who can go and stand in front of the camera would be chosen. You know, the ones who really have the specific, I would say, the caliber to finalize the deal negotiations, to establish a business relationship with the entrepreneurs, to evaluate and categorize potential ventures of investment or formulate the exit plan. You can't think of the exit plan. When you're looking forward to screening processes, you have to look into the investment in a proper manner. You have to look into the investment, whether it was worth it or whether I should go for it even or not. Isn't it, everyone? Investments cannot be something that you and I can say, oops, I made a mistake. कोई बात नहीं चलता है. We would be under a very big trouble if we make a very big mistake. Isn't it, everyone? That's one of the basic things anybody can face. Now comes the what is the primary goal of negotiation process in venture capital financing? To secure maximum profits in venture capital, to establish a win-win situation for both the parties, to ensure complete control of the entrepreneur, or to minimize the investment amount required. The venture capital is always looking forward towards that organization to grow further. So technically, he's looking forward towards a win-win situation for both the parties. Matlab both the entrepreneur as well as the uh, venture capitalist. See, if the organization makes money, then both of these would be having their own set of incomes as well. So technically, this thing will be definitely more helpful than anything else. You know? Done. Now let's move on to the next question, please. What role does the venture capitalist typically play after finalizing the investment? Hands-on involvement in day-to-day activity operations. Then we have limited involvement, only intervening in case of potential financial loss, full control over the company's operations, or sole decision-making authority to regard business strategies. What's gonna be the answer, everyone? When we talk about the venture capitalist, in this case, the answer is going to be limited involvement. You will not have unlimited involvement and only intervening in terms of potential and financial losses. They have their working defined. But yes, do they provide strategic information? They do. They provide them the money. They look forward towards the overall growth of the organization, but they can just give suggestions. Done, everyone? So in this case, the correct answer is limited involvement is required, only the intervening in case of the financial loss. When there's a loss, I will come up or you can come up to me. Depending upon that particular situation, they make this. ठीक है ना? चलिए, that's it for the day. But before I end my session, have you reviewed our courses yet? If you haven't, then please go ahead and check it out on our website or in our app for further details. Go on to our website, that is www.adda247.com. Go on to the area of the website there. This is what you will find. If you go down and you will click on the area of JIB and CIB, you will find the CIB June 2024. Our new batches are starting from 13th, from this is 15th. So you must have seen the particular batches started on 13th. So this is our English medium batch. If you are planning to buy the English medium batch, you can have 78% discount. All you need to do is use the code Wi-Fi for 1 and you will get the discount more than the 75% discount which is given here. So if I apply this one, the answer would be 55 5519.77. So this would be your amount that you will have to pay for buying the particular CIB, all the compulsory subjects. So if you are planning to do it, then kindly check it out on our website or in our app for further details. Till then, I'll be meeting in the next